Welcome into another episode of Locked On Phillies. The Phils dropped game one against the Cardinals. Not really that exciting of a game, but what in the world is going on with Bryce Harper? We try and answer that question on today's episode.
You are Locked On Phillies, your daily Philadelphia Phillies podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Yes, this is Locked On Phillies. I'm your host, Connor Thomas. Thank you so much for joining us today. We come to you as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. You may know me from some of my other work in the sports talk space. I've been on air over at 97.5 The Fanatic, doing sports talk radio for a little bit over 5 years now in the city of Philadelphia here. I've been a credentialed Philadelphia Phillies media member for 4 seasons, and this is my 4th year as the host of Locked On Phillies. Please make sure that you're rating, reviewing, subscribing to the YouTube, all that great stuff that really helps us out here on Locked On Phillies. I appreciate everyone who's done that, everyone who's going to do that. You can check us out wherever you get your podcasts or on YouTube. And today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. Go ahead and check out our friends over at FanDuel Sportsbook. Don't bet on Bryce Harper right now on FanDuel Sportsbook. He is struggling, and we're going to talk about that to lead off today's episode. We're also going to get into the latest top 100 prospects list, which came out for Major League Baseball. 4 Phillies on the list, and we'll talk about how they're there, why they're ranked so highly or lowly, and how that's all working out, when we can expect them up with the Phillies. Finally, if you check the weather in Philadelphia, if you live in the area, stick your head out the window, but bring your umbrella if you do. It's wet out here. We're going to talk about how problematic rainouts could be for teams with momentum, like the Phillies and the Cardinals. But last night's game was kind of a very uninspiring game, really, from both sides. I mean, it's not like the Cardinals were all that great in the game. Nobody really hit. Christopher Sanchez was good for the Phillies, but they just couldn't scrape across enough runs. 9 hits, so they didn't get completely shut down. They just didn't really cash in. It was a 3-2 loss, and it's one that leaves you feeling like, okay, that is a typical mid-May baseball game that we're all going to forget about in a week, right? Wasn't good, wasn't terrible, but Phillies lose, and that's okay. I mean, winning series is the name of the game. They can bounce back and still win this series, depending on the time frame, which we'll talk about with the weather in the next couple days in Philadelphia in the forecast. But there's not too much to take out of the game besides Kyle Schwarber extending his on-base streak to 47 games, which is just ridiculous. He's still unbelievable. Bryce Harper 0 for 3. He's down to batting .232, and that's why I want to talk about Bryce to lead off today's episode, because what in the world is wrong with Bryce Harper? We had a conversation about a week or so ago. When do you start to worry about Bryce Harper? My answer is you don't, right? You never really worry about Bryce Harper. He is this incredible generational talent that has these stretches, like every player does, and he always seems to come out of them, and he always seems to hit in the big moments when you actually get to those points of the season. He always seems to figure it out himself, and he's been through these ebbs and flows many, many times, right? He's not a young prospect like the guys we're going to talk about in the next segment. He's a guy that's been there, done that, 2-time MVP, not worried about Bryce Harper in the long run. But right now, we have to have a conversation about what's wrong with him, because he just can't seem to get things going. He's shown a little bit of power recently, but he can't consistently figure out how to hit right now. And it doesn't really seem like a timing thing. If it's a timing thing, right, you'd be seeing him get beat really badly on either breaking balls or fastballs. He'd be picking and choosing, guessing, I guess is the right term to use, at one or the other, and you'd just be way, way off. Can't feel out how stuff is coming in. I don't get that impression from Bryce Harper. So the timing, I don't think, is the issue. It could be as simple as just a small hitch in his swing. And I don't really know what I'm picking up with Bryce Harper's issues right now, but I know what he tries to do, right? You've heard him talk about it in the past. He tries to catch the ball in what he calls the front window. What the front window is basically out in front of the body, getting the bat head out. So he wants to, the front window is like the front of the strike zone. If you think about the strike zone, as a three-dimensional box, right? There's the front, then there's like the back tip behind the plate, and then there's obviously the height of the strike zone, which makes this kind of elongated in the back cube type of thing. And front window, as I understand it, and Bryce Harper kind of explains it when he gets a chance to talk about hitting, is trying to get it at like the front part of that strike zone. As it's making contact with the strike zone, you are making contact with the ball. That gets the bat head out. That allows you to pull the ball. That allows you to backspin the ball a little bit better to the pull side. That creates the better swing that Bryce Harper wants to do. That's where because the swing path is it's not completely level. It's not a flat plane. There is an angle to it. You hear launch angle all the time. And that's the angle created off the bat because it's circular, obviously, circular bat, circular ball. So you can get it with a flat swing. But everybody has some type of either upswing or cut down depending on where you're getting the ball. And when you catch the ball in the front window, naturally, you see guys finish with the bat over their front shoulder, high, right? You don't see them finish with it at their waist level. No, it goes up. So the more you catch it in the front window, the more you create that launch angle, the more you get that backspin, the more you're able to drive the baseball, right? Simple physics of hitting a baseball. Bryce Harper is trying to get out there and get that launch. And it could simply be that his swing is just, I don't know, he has a hitch where the angle of attack of the baseball bat is off by a little bit. And that's why he's not hitting breaking balls. And here's the thing. Breaking balls have been Bryce Harper's kryptonite this year. They're not really throwing him fastballs. Now, he's missed some fastballs recently that I'm like, dude, when he's going good, that ball's 500 feet. And he did have a 400-plus foot home run in Cleveland this last series. So it's not like major alarm bells going off. But I don't know what it is with Bryce that's completely off, but I do know that something feels off with his swing path, like when I watch it. And he's tried different things. We know he's an experimental type of guy. You'll see him over the course of a game when he's struggling. Batting gloves one time, no batting gloves the next time. Thumb guard one time, no thumb guard. Different bat, teammates bat. He'll try different stuff, whether that matters or not, just to get the feel of like what it's supposed to be. He just hasn't come out of it yet. And the Phillies are going to need him to. Now, the upside of this conversation is the Phillies have won 5 straight series and have put themselves into they were top 5 record in baseball yesterday. They're up there as far as record in baseball is concerned. And that's without Bryce Harper really stepping up. A lot of that credit goes to Kyle Schwarber, Trey Turner, Nick Castellanos, other guys at the top of the lineup, Bryson Stott. But if Harper becomes Bryce Harper again, and he will, the Phillies are going to be an even better version of the team that you've been seeing. So that's why it's not a major red flag, because you're like, okay, well, the team's largely winning. I know they didn't win last night, but they're winning more than they lose. And they're doing it without their best bat. I know Kyle Schwarber is amazing. Bryce Harper's the best hitter on this team. He is. And when he turns back into that best hitter on this team, the Phillies are going to be a wagon. You just kind of have to wait it out. Now, what are the solutions that you can do if you're the team to help Bryce Harper? Well, you don't really move Bryce Harper down in the lineup. Alec Boehm is still batting well. Last night he moved up in the order a little bit. Part of that was because you're facing a lefty, so it was a righty-heavy lineup. But Alec Boehm's been batting mainly 8th because he was struggling. You moved him to 8th. He's been hitting well. You don't want to move him back up, right? Because you don't want to mess with – if it's working, there's no reason. The guys at the top of the lineup are hitting, so you don't need to move Alec Boehm back into a premier spot in the lineup. Harper doesn't get moved down. And he shouldn't. You can't say, okay, Bryce, we're going to bat you 7th for a couple of games until you come out. He's Bryce Harper. He's going to bat 3. He's going to bat 2. He's going to bat 4. He's going to be in that meat of the lineup day in and day out. So pretty much what you have to do now is you have to wait if you're the Philadelphia Phillies and trust that one of the best hitters of a generation is going to continue to be that guy. He's not really a bunches guy, right? Kyle Schwarber is. And what I mean by that is when Kyle Schwarber hits a bomb, you can probably bet that there's 3 more coming in the next 5 games. He gets on these tears and they all group together. Harper can get hot. I'm not saying he doesn't do that, but he's not really one of those bunches guys. He's a guy that once he figures it out, he has it for a long time, right? He will go through months of the season where he's this guy. Whereas Kyle Schwarber feels like it's a couple weeks here, down week, couple weeks here, down week. And that's still very good. I'm not saying anything bad about Kyle Schwarber by doing this. I'm just saying, like, once Bryce Harper figures it out, he's going to have it figured out. I wonder if he needs to just eliminate the fastball, right? And that sounds crazy to say about a guy like Bryce Harper, but they don't really throw him that many anyway. There's two schools of thought here. When a guy like Bryce Harper is struggling and they're throwing him heavy breaking balls and he can't seem to get the swing path right for breaking balls, some people would say, hey, then when they throw you the fastball, you better not miss it. And I get that, but that hasn't worked for Bryce Harper yet. So I would like to see him almost say, okay, if you're going to throw me the fastball, you're going to throw me the fastball. But I need to show you that I can hit these low breaking balls that I keep getting, that I keep swinging over. And he has not proven that yet this year. So he's going to keep seeing them. Now, once he figures it out, the other good thing, too, is it's going to take a while for pitchers to adjust. They're going to say, we're going to keep throwing him curveballs. And when Bryce Harper starts seeing them better, he's going to get a bunch of pitches that he expects to see, and he's going to hit those pitches hard. So not overly worried about Bryce Harper, but he needs to figure out the attack angle, the swing path with his bat. He needs to start being a little bit more conscious is not the right word because he knows they're trying to attack him with breaking balls, but maybe even a little bit more focus on breaking balls rather than punishing the few fastballs that he gets. And then it's just stringing them together. And the guys hitting around him will help him do that. And the guys around him are hitting. So he will figure it out. Not too worried about Bryce Harper, but that's my general evaluation of what I think is wrong with the Philadelphia Phillies slugger right now. They can survive it. And once they don't have to survive it anymore and he comes back, they're going to be even better for it. So we'll keep an eye on that. He is definitely a major, major focus. I'd say for the rest of the month of May of what Bryce Harper does, see if he can figure it out. I'd like to see him get to like 245 by the end of May. I think that would be a very comfortable spot to expect Bryce Harper to get to. If he gets to 245, he's heading in the right direction. And then once June rolls around, take on off, get it up into like the 270 range. Like, I'm not asking him to do too much, just little steps at this time of him figuring it out. And hell, he could go on a heater and get it to 260 by the end of May. Who knows what ends up coming, especially with some of the lower levels of competition the Phillies are going to see later on in May. Speaking of lower levels of competition, some minor league talk coming up next. The MLB Top 100 Prospects list has been updated, and we will tell you where some of the Phillies' top prospects rank and break down why they are where they are as we continue today's episode. Let's talk about FanDuel first, though. The NBA playoffs are in full swing, and every night delivers highlight-worthy performances, major momentum shifts, and can't-miss moments. Whether it's a game-winning shot or a breakout player, there's never been a better time to get in on the action. There's a lot of great series going on right now. Boston and New York, Cleveland and Indiana, Minnesota and Golden State, Oklahoma City, and those Denver Nuggets. There's some good series out there, and FanDuel makes it easy to stay in the game before tip-off and live with player props, performance trends, and same-game parlays. Fans have more ways than ever to play smart and win big. Which players are showing up in the biggest moments, and how could tracking their trends help you build your next bet? Well, you got to go ahead and look at them. See, Tyrese Halliburton's been clutch. Anthony Edwards has been clutch. Julius Randle has been really good for the Timberwolves. Keep an eye on those guys. And if you're new to FanDuel, it's the perfect time to sign up because you can head to FanDuel.com and place your first $5 bet. And if it wins, you're going to get $200 in bonus bets. So make every moment more with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Check out our friends over at FanDuel. Top 100 prospects list updated. Now I know you guys probably have only seen highlights of these guys. And I'll be honest, I've pretty much only seen highlights of most of these guys because they're down in the minors and I'm watching the Phils every day. I'm zoned in on the major league team. But I've talked to a bunch of people who know these players and follow these players. And I think I know enough about them to be able to evaluate whether these are proper positionings and how we should react to them. So there are 4 Phillies on the top 100 prospects list. And the most exciting one is the top one. Andrew Painter is number 5 on the MLB Top 100 most recent prospects list. Now, he had dropped during his injury recovery all the way down to like 27. The fact that he is back up to 5 now is a really good sign for where his recovery is at. Just made his debut at AAA, just faced Roman Anthony, who's the number one prospect in Major League Baseball of the Boston Red Sox organization, struck him out once, walked him once. I mean, Painter deserves to be top 5. He probably deserves to be higher than that, to be honest, but it's still the kind of, okay, he's recovering from his injury. We're watching him work his way back. All these other guys are healthy, so we have to knock him down a couple steps on that. But Andrew Painter is really, really good, really highly respected in the prospect circles. And this is just a further sign of why the Phillies are going to have an awesome rotation for a while. Zach Wheeler ain't going anywhere. Luzardo, we hope, is still here. Sanchez locked down long-term. We hope Nolan can figure it out, but he's locked down long-term. We'll see what the future holds for Ranger Suarez. But Andrew Painter's going to be here for a while, and he's going to be really good, and you're going to see him at the major league level this year. And that's just proof positive that he's getting the respect he deserves. We've talked about Andrew Painter a bunch, but number 5 on the top 100 prospects list, fully deserved by Andrew Painter, and maybe even a little bit underrated based on injury recovery. He is that good. A nice little jump for Aiden Miller, who is number 25 in the top quarter of the MLB's top 100 prospects list. Now, he's still down at AA, so you're not really seeing him do anything too crazy that's jumping him a bunch of spots, except he's still just hitting the ball. I mean, he's a great bat. He's a really good fielder. He's in great shape for his progression through the minor leagues. He's not a come up this year guy. He will not be at the major league level this year, I don't believe, unless there's something weird with the September call-ups or something strange happens at the trade deadline. I don't see Aiden Miller playing for the Phillies this year, but next year will be his, okay, this kid's really close to ready. I'm very interested to see how high he climbs before he comes up, because he's already 25 and he is not going to be at the major league level this year. So next year, maybe he breaks camp with the team, depending on what happens with Alec Boehm and how they handle that situation or what they want to do with him. But if he doesn't, he could go as high as Andrew Painter is right now at number 5. He could even go potentially higher, Aiden Miller. He's that good. He's just another year away from being in those premier spots in the top 100, but a good sign that he's still in a really good spot and continuing to climb. This is an interesting one. Justin Crawford is the next name on the list. He's at number 56. Now, I know, very young player. Now, he's at AAA, and there was talks about him coming up and helping out with the Philadelphia Phillies center field situation with Rojas and Marsh struggling. Well, Rojas and Marsh have kind of settled a little bit. The situation looks less dire than it does. And if I ask people, is Aiden Miller ready to come up right now? Like, people who know. They'd be like, maybe, but he probably needs a little bit more time. Andrew Painter, not part of this conversation because his is just injury. He is ready to pitch at the major league level mentally. He's just not where the Phillies wanted to be physically yet. But Crawford's a weird one because there's so many people that are calling for Justin Crawford to get called up tomorrow, to play center field, to be the future of this team's outfield. We need him up at the major league level. Number 56 prospect in Major League Baseball. I mean, it's not bad. Right? I'm not saying the guy's not good. I'm not saying he's underperforming. Like, he's had good development. That's not the issue. And 56 is not a bad place to be. Just sometimes when I hear people talk about Justin Crawford, Phillies fans, they're treating him like he's the number 5 Major League prospect or the number 25 Major League prospect. He's number 56, which is not anything to, like, turn your nose up at. I'm just saying, like, remember, this guy's he's not Jackson Holliday. He's not the Orioles' top prospect who came up last year. He's just not this sure thing ready right now. Call him up. He is good. He's going to be good. I firmly believe that he will be a nice Major League Baseball player. I don't know what his ceiling is at the Major League level, but he's going to belong at the Major League level. I do believe that based on what I have seen in small sample size and what I've heard from people. But anyone who's like, oh, he's ready now, there's more to consider there than just, does he have a position? Do the Phillies need him? Are they worried about service time? He still has some development to go. And then the final name on the top 100 prospects list that's in the Phillies minor league organization is catcher Eduardo Tit. Now, I thought it was Tate. I was seeing some of his highlights, and they're calling him Tait. So we'll have to figure out the pronunciation. Tate is easier for me to say. But what I'll tell you is easy about his game is his offensive approach from the catcher position. I mean, he can swing it, and he's a solid defensive catcher. The baddest plus, he's young. I believe he's still 19 years old, but he's a ways away. He's not ready for any significant jump yet. Maybe we'll see him at Double-A before the end of this year, right? Maybe we'll see him jump into the Double-A ranks, and we'll hear a little bit about his progression, and he'll move up. But he's kind of important because the Phillies catcher position is going to get really, really tricky. The Phillies are going to need to kill a year at the catcher position. I don't know how they do it because Rafael Marchand has not been great for the Philadelphia Phillies this year in minor opportunities. Garrett Stubbs is in AAA. They'll bring him back up probably end of this year, September call-ups or whatever, but he doesn't have another option, so they can't send him down. He'd have to clear waivers. Some other team will pick him up. So Garrett Stubbs is not like this long-term option. Rafael Marchand has not proven that he's going to be a long-term option. And JT Realmuto's in the final year of his deal. And he doesn't look like he's a prime candidate to be re-signed to a monster contract or anything like that, or a long-term deal. So I don't know what you do. If you can get JT Realmuto on a one-year deal, great. You bring him back for 1 year. And then after that year, you hope that Tit is able to make his way through the minor league system. And then maybe at 20 or 21, he debuts. But that even is a rush on him. It may be 2 years that you're going to have to find a way to kill. And a JT Realmuto 2-year contract, fan base would not be ecstatic about that. So maybe you go out. But the tough thing, you can't go out and get like a 26-year-old major league catcher that's ready to start because, one, it'd be hard to acquire that guy. You'd have to trade for him. Most of those guys don't have enough service time to hit free agency. That would be expensive. And what you'd then be doing would be blocking Tit from coming up. You don't want to bring in somebody who's the guy of the future because I imagine the Phillies think Eduardo Tit is the catcher of the future. But he's not quite here, and you're going to have a hole at a position. So what do you do with that is a major question. He's number 77 on the list, so he's climbing quickly. I mean, he's only 21 spots behind Crawford, and we've been hearing so much about Crawford, and Tit is like further back in his development. So maybe he becomes this great catcher, and you have this guy. Maybe there's a position change. We see that sometimes with strong hitting catchers. Happened to Bryce Harper. I don't know what the future holds for him, but you have 4 prospects in the top 100. That is a good sign for the Philadelphia Phillies. Their minor league system is starting to get to a place where you feel more comfortable about the future. That's the thing with this Phillies team. Their window's not closed after this year. Like, you can replace Bohm. You can replace Martian Rojas. You can replace Ranger Suarez. You can, in the future, replace JT Realmuto and feel pretty good about all of that. But you just have to figure out the time frame for it, and that's where it gets tricky. But a good sign for the Phillies minor league system, and we'll hang on to that as we go deeper into the season and keep an eye on how those guys develop. Coming up next, we may not be going deeper into the season tonight or tomorrow night or the night after. We're going to talk about weather and rainouts because tonight does not feel like a great baseball night in South Philadelphia. And we'll see, or discuss rather, how rainouts potentially affect momentum of teams on a roll. Coming up next as we wrap up today's episode of Locked On Phillies. Sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, sometimes it rains. That old adage about baseball could very well ring true over the next couple of days here in Philadelphia. Today, you have rain throughout the day. 100% chance of rain. It's raining right now. It's going to be raining through the night, it seems like. It's going to be tough to get the baseball game in tonight. I'd be shocked if the Phillies are able to play the Cardinals tonight at Citizens Bank Park. And tomorrow also looks rainy. 70% chance of rain Wednesday, 47% chance of rain Thursday. So Thursday, the Phillies do have a scheduled off day. Let me just double check on the Cardinals schedule because you can't just say, oh, well, the Phils have an off day Thursday. Let's push a game back and play one on Thursday. So I have to see what the Cardinals are doing and where they're going after Philadelphia. They very well could have an off day Thursday as well, and they do. So you could just push stuff to Thursday. Thursday's a little rainy, but there should be a window. That could allow you to play the games in a normal amount of days. And the off day just becomes tonight. But it's going to be tough to play again Wednesday too. So there's a chance that you could get into a doubleheader situation on Thursday. I don't know exactly how that plays out. Miss 2 days of games, doubleheader Thursday. Then you welcome the Pirates. It's easier for the Phillies because they're staying in Philadelphia. Tougher on the Cardinals because they're on the move. But the Cardinals have now won 9 straight games. The Phillies have won 5 straight series. Both of these teams are rolling. So what does a rainout do for momentum? Well, if you are one of these teams, right, you probably feel excited to get to the ballpark every day. You get out there and you're like, we're playing good baseball. We're seeing it well. We're hitting well. We want to stay in a rhythm. Baseball players are creatures of habit. And when you get the rainouts, it does a couple of things. One, it kills the momentum of guys swinging a hot bat, or it can kill the momentum of guys swinging a hot bat. They'll get some BP in and stuff. They'll get some work in, but it's not the same as playing an actual game, seeing live pitching. It doesn't feel the same, so it can kind of throw off the routine a little bit. It can also throw off the rotations a little bit. How do you work with your starters? Do you keep the same guys? Do you skip a start for somebody? Do you push everybody back a day? If you do push everybody back a day, think about the guy who just threw 2 games ago. Zach Wheeler threw on Sunday for the Philadelphia Phillies. And then you go ahead and you have the Monday game. But now if you miss games Tuesday or Wednesday, you may push Zach Wheeler back a couple of days to start. And that may mess with his, like just using him as an example. We know he doesn't like extra days of rest. And the reason he doesn't is he likes to stay on routine. So whatever pitchers get pushed back on starts could be weird for them. So rainouts are not good, right? You may look at it and say, whatever, they'll just play tomorrow. Not a great time. And also, it makes it more complicated to figure out how to win series because if you're playing double headers, those are tough days. It seems so often the double headers end up being splits. It's very rare that you see teams sweep the doubleheader or like you don't have things go your way all that often in double headers. The percentage chance of you splitting or getting swept outweighs your chance of sweeping. It just does. Look through the numbers many times because I've had this debate many times. Double headers, it's tough to sweep. And the Phillies are going to have to win the next 2 games to win this series. So if it does go to a doubleheader, their series 1 streak is in jeopardy. And also you wonder what it does to guys swinging hot bats like Kyle Schwarber, like Trey Turner, like Bryson Stott. How does it affect their ability to keep that rolling? Does it throw a wrench in one of the hot stretches or the hottest stretch of the Philadelphia Phillies season? That's definitely something to consider. Now, I don't think it's major. Like, I don't want to overstate this. Rainouts do happen. The Phillies have been pretty darn lucky the past couple of years with finding windows to play. And the other thing you got to think about too, it's not an off day, or not an off day. It's not a getaway day, I should say. The Atlanta game that the Phillies had like the 4-hour rain delay in was the final game of the series. There was no off day next day for the teams. So they're like, we need to do everything we can to get this game in. We don't want to make another trip back down to Atlanta for just 1 game. We don't want to have to work with the scheduling and figure that out. We don't want to lose an off day somewhere down the road. Like, it's not moving an off day. Like, they had already started playing that game. This one's a little bit simpler to figure out scheduling-wise because you do have an extra day to fit it in. So luckily, both teams an off day after this. The Cardinals may just need to spend an extra day here in Philadelphia, and you have to find some time Wednesday and Thursday to get it in. I think the ideal situation, because tonight is almost certainly a rainout, is to play Game 2 on Wednesday, play Game 3 on Thursday. The Phillies off day just gets bumped up to Tuesday, and maybe that will wipe away the loss from last night, and the Phillies can just be like, okay, well, whatever, scrape that. We play a 2-game series. Let's go get 2 games in the next 2 days. And then you move on to your series with the Pittsburgh Pirates. It starts later this week. That would be ideal. The least ideal would be tonight gets banged, tomorrow gets banged. You play 2 on Thursday. And Thursday is not exactly looking dry. It's looking like you have windows, but that would be a long, tough day at Citizens Bank Park for the Fighting Phils, and I don't want the team to have to go through that. And then they play 2 on Thursday, and then they have to play 1, 2, 3 over the weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday against the Pittsburgh Pirates. That Pirate series is winnable. You play 2 on Thursday, and you're playing, 5 games in 4 days? That messes with your chance to win the next series as well. That's how it builds momentum in a negative way for these rainouts. So hope the weather works out. Doesn't look great, at least for today. We'll keep you updated as far as that's concerned. But you may have your night free, Philadelphia, when it comes to the Phillies' chances of playing down at the bank tonight. That's all for today's episode of Locked On Phillies. Rain out or not, we'll have another episode tomorrow. So we will get into just some general stuff if we don't have a game to react to. Housekeeping stuff, we'll call it, that we haven't had a chance to talk about because we're reacting to games and general conversation, things like that. But hopefully they get the game in tonight. Who knows? Stranger things have happened with the weather, right? Who can even predict the weather? Either way, we're going to talk to you tomorrow. Thank you so much for checking out today's episode of Locked On Phillies. Please make sure you're rating, reviewing, subscribing to the YouTube, all that great stuff that really helps us out. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And I'll talk to you tomorrow on our next episode of Locked On Phillies.